Yeah, we will start with integration. Just 10 minutes. We'll just have to discuss the standard position management and time rules. Time rules, we have already seen that there are four different rules. That is accrual rules, hire rule, termination rule, and period end processing rule. And position management also, there are standard rules. Otherwise, whatever you want, you configure everything in the basic rules. See, in the basic rules itself, you have various options. Like if you see the base object, various things that you can write rules on. Whereas position management is only position management. You will not have base object at all, because the base object itself is a position management, and you can write only those standard rules which they have given here, which they have already written. The rules are already there, right? If you want to make any changes and modify, you can do that. See this derive job requisition template in recruitment integration. For this, there is already a rule. You see here, this we have already seen, but still. These are all standard rules, like position to job propagation. Okay, we discussed this. If you see that, mainly there are two, three rules which standard position management standard rule, which are assigned in the position management settings. Okay, the standard rules. Other than that, if you want generally position management and time, we won't need any other rule as such. Otherwise, if you want anything specific to that, they have just given here what rule you can write. You can write only these rules, nothing else. So you whatever same if then else. Say continue. Base object automatically will select, right? Same if then else options, whatever. Okay, we had, you can write the rule based on that. Generally, position management time rules, the real time we hardly use any, we hardly create any new rule, because they are only standard rules. Anything else, if you want to create, you create in the basic rule itself. You have option, even in the basic rule you have the option base object called position management and time. Okay, if you want to write rules, in the basic rule itself you can write position recruitment integration, job propagation, position type, whatever you want. So these rules which are there, okay, position type, these are the standard rules, that is it. Otherwise, even the time rules and position management rules, you can just select the base object and write rules here itself. See the various time rules. You can write rule based on the uh, time account type, various objects. So accrual calculation, whatever you want, various base objects, wherever you want, you can write the rule. Right? Otherwise, you generally do not write any specific rule with respect to the specific new rule under the position management rule and time rule. Okay. Otherwise, I hope you guys are all now familiar with the rules. We have written about around 9 rules, and I ask you guys to practice it to propagate. Okay, now let's start with the integrations. So integrations, we are going to discuss the 3 different types of integration that we are going to discuss. Internal integrations, rather internal integrations, external integrations only majorly. External integrations again, EC payroll means cloud payroll integration, next employee central to cloud payroll integration means SAP. EC payroll means EC to SAP, standard cloud payroll integration. EC to on-premises SAP. Integrations, and you have EC to third party, any third party applications. EC to any third party applications integration. Delgobi middleware. So, okay, we are going to discuss all this in the integration part. Then followed by, we'll have 3 days continuously. We'll just discuss for workbooks, how to gather the requirement, what is that we need to ask the customer, how do you collect the information when you go to the customer place. This is all real time which we will be discussing. And I'll share these documents with you guys. You can just go through the documents and prepare for 1 month or so. Okay, I'm going to share all these documents with you guys. You have to prepare for one and a half month, whatever, how much our time is, you feel that it's feasible. Just prepare for the exam and you can clear the exam, right? So this will be useful for your interviews as well. Workbooks, real-time workbooks itself, it's a real-time how to collect and real-time in the projects how it happens, and when you will be asked in the interviews how it will happen in the interviews, how do you do in the real-time. Now with this, EC will be over. EC and integrations will be over, Rupa. Then we'll discuss about the other modules. Okay. We'll just discuss. There are a couple of people who are supposed to join the join for other modules as well. If they are just joining in, and we'll continue with PMGM. That will not take more. It will hardly take 10-12 days. That's it. Okay, or 15 days I can say. This is the major thing, right? And guys, do not miss any classes. And these are integrations are very peculiar thing, which if you have the knowledge on integrations, you have various options in the market. Integrations is something which you need to have the knowledge. And after all the integrations, then miscellaneous things we'll be discussing. All miscellaneous in the EC, import, export options, all that will be just looking into it. Okay, now integrations. Integrations basically there are internal integrations and external integrations. Internal integrations is nothing but integrations of Employee Central being the core HR database. Any other modules, PMGM, compensation, take LMS, take any module, recruitment, onboarding, offboarding, all these modules. Any module, if they want to implement, they need the data from Employee Central. Unless and until you have employee database, what compensation planning you do, what performance planning you do, nothing will, you can't do anything, right? Unless, so for anything and everything that you have to do, LMS, learning management, if you have to do LMS for an employee, first you need to have employee, right? So Employee Central being the core database, internal integrations are already there. If there are no integrations, through our basic rules, you can write some rules as and when if required. So that is other module consultants, they'll be asking you, what is that they want the data, they want this data to be displayed there. And one second. One second guys. Where will this go? I think when okay. Yeah. I'll have to find it. Okay. And internal integrations okay, are standard, and either if they need any data, either you can write rule, or they themselves can write rule to get the data from employee central. Okay, and there are some standard integrations which are there, as I shown you, like position management. If you see, for the recruitment integration is there, job information replication. Okay, similar things. External integrations are the major things which we need to discuss on. Now, EC payroll. As you guys are aware, as I have already explained in the beginning classes, in the initial classes, okay, payroll is something which is not come to the cloud yet. Okay, payroll is something which has not come to the cloud yet. It is still in the same SAP itself. Okay, so for that, what they are doing, they have come up with the solution called EC payroll. EC payroll means you will have employee central is a core database, employee central being the core database. Okay, you will implement it, and the data will flow from employee central to payroll, SAP payroll. SAP payroll, this will again SAP payroll will again be in the, this SAP system will be available in the Arizona, DCs, one of the data centers, servers. Okay, it will not be available with the, now if we implement this, assume that Siemens has a, excuse me, Siemens has a, shit, Siemens as a company, if we implement SAP, where do we, it will be, the system will be there in our server, right? Whereas EC payroll, SAP server will be in SuccessFactors data center servers. Okay, like Arizona, Arizona we have a server, in Sydney we have a server. Okay, etc. Any server, it can be any server. So how you will be able to access this SAP system? You will be able to access through router string. Okay, they'll provide you the router string details. You will be able to access that through that. You see here SAP router string. Okay, they'll give you the router string details. With this router string, you'll access, of course, you'll have an application number, instance number, all that. But this, through this router string, you will be able to access for the whenever you are getting in the customer side. For EC payroll, they'll give this details. You have to just key in all the details so that you can access the EC payroll system. Okay, so employee central, anyway it will be cloud. So this is called as cloud to cloud. So it is again SAP payroll system will again be there in the cloud server. Cloud server, which is SuccessFactors data centers, wherever, whichever the location they are, Arizona, Sydney, or wherever. In the the SAP system will be available in those that servers, right? So what is the prerequisites that you have to do? First step, Okay, if you see here, enable payroll integration, you need to ensure that this is checked. Enable payroll control center, you see here these two has to be checked. Enable UI integration with SAP ERP systems, you need to check. Enable SAP ERP integration, this has to be enabled. That is it. Okay, so you call it settings in the provisioning settings. Otherwise, provisioning settings. Provisioning settings will be provisioning settings has to be done. Integration with respect to integrations with respect to payroll and SAP needs to be checked. Right? Next. So basically, you divide this integrations into three part. This steps into three part. One is settings in EC system. Second one is settings in Delbumi. Ravi, is my voice audible to you? I think you have some issue, Rupa. Ravi?
Yes, I am able to hear you, Raju.
Properly. There is no issue,
yes,
right?
Yes, there is no issue. There is no issue.
Okay. Vinay, you are able to hear me properly, right?
Yes, Raju.
Yeah. Rupa, I think there seems to be some issue from your end. Hello, Rupa? Rupa, looks like there is some issue from your end. Please get that rectified. Okay, yeah. So, settings in the employee central system. Second thing is settings in the Delbumi system. And third thing will be settings in the SAP system. Yes, I am talking now, Rupa. Hope you are able to hear me now. Let me just unmute you. Hello, Rupa? Are you able to hear me? Rupa? Hello, Rupa, are you able to hear me? Just disconnect and relog in here. Okay, so into settings in the employee central system and employee central system, settings in the Dell Boomi, and finally settings in the SAP system. Okay, so provisioning settings, we have to enable all the integrations tabs and payroll tabs and SAP system integration tabs in the provisioning. Then come to instance. Okay, basically we need to create a separate API user. We need to create a separate user only for the, or we need to create a separate role only for the integrations, or you can use the existing role itself, whatever the role that you want. And in that particular role, whichever the role you have, Rupa, hope you are able to hear us now. Whichever the role, whichever the role you want to create, you can create either separate SAP API role or separate group, or you can use the existing this one itself. Okay, you need to ensure that these permissions, you are given the permissions. SAP system configuration. Okay, you can also give field level, which field you need to have permissions. Right, otherwise it will take for all. SAP system configuration, you need to ensure that I think there seems to be some issue from your end, Rupa. You should get it rectified because others are able to hear me properly. Now you are okay? Oh, great. Great, great. Okay. Okay. You need to ensure that what we have just started. No, you haven't missed anything. It's only that. So we have done the activation in the provisioning, right? All the payroll integration tabs and SAP integration tabs. Now, you have to go to any role, whichever the role you want to give access for the integration, you have to go there, or you create a separate role for the integrations. And give the access. That's what I was just telling. SAP system configuration, you need to ensure that you give the access to SAP system configuration, payroll control center, and payroll permissions. Right? And under the general user permissions, SF API user login. You have to check that SF API user login. If you come to miscellaneous permissions, I don't think you'll have anything with respect to SAP integrations. Of course, MDF anyway we will be giving access, so specifically we don't have to do anything. And if you come to administrative permissions, Employee Central API. So Employee Central API application programming interface, all this OData API you have to give access, permissions you have to give. Manage SAP system configuration, access to SAP system configuration. Okay? Yeah. In the provisioning, I missed to tell you one more thing, where we have to give access. APIs. Basically, APIs also we have to activate it in the provisioning. SF API and OData. Okay. APIs we need to activate both SF API and OData API. Okay, keep this in mind. SF API endpoint URL also. Okay, and SF API username and SF API password also you can give here. And yeah, here if you see this web services, SF API and SF API ad hoc feature, Employee Central SOAP API, and enable SF API web services. Yeah, we have to activate all these APIs in the provisioning. In addition to that, integrations switches, you need to ensure that you you need to ensure that you check those checkboxes. What you guys do, after this, drop a text mail to me, raju.sapsf@gmail.com, raju.sapsf@gmail.com. Just drop a text mail to me. I'll share the documents directly to you guys. Okay. All the documents I'll share it with you guys today or tomorrow. Okay. Step 1 is provisioning settings, and number 2, you'll ensure that the permissions with respect to integrations has been given. Okay. Third thing, if you guys know, especially SAP, if you guys have the SAP knowledge, okay, there are certain limitations with respect to the length of the field. Suppose company code in SAP is 4 digits standard, and you cannot change. Personal area is a 2-digit code. Sorry, 4-digit code again. You cannot change. Employee group is 1 digit. Employee subgroup is 2 digits. So SAP, there are standards. You cannot enhance them. They are SAP standards. And if you guys have the SAP knowledge, if you guys have worked on SAP, you would know the lengths of a particular field. But whereas in SAP EC, we don't have any restriction for any. We can make 1000 as length. Okay, if you say take any field, for example, take any field. If you see here, right, 255, we can make it 1000 also. We can make it 1. Whatever you want, you can do that. But in SAP, we don't have that facility. You can't make. If you have to increase the length of the field, you need to depend on the ABAPer. Right? Here it is not like that. We see you have the liberty to change the length how much ever you want. Now, with respect to all the fields, standard fields especially, you need to ensure that the fields are restricted in Employee Central as per SAP. For example, company code, restrict it to 4 digits. Okay, business unit, division, whatever. So whichever the field which is standard in SAP, if there is a limitation with respect to the length of the field, of course, it is always better. That is one. Okay, whatever we have configured in the standard, this one. Fields here. You will find it here. Say pay component, for example. You will find all the payment related here. See, all those fields are there. This each one of this is called as APIs, application programming interface. So this is the web services, and basically the data by Dell Boomi from here. If you see, if you go to Compound Employee API, you will find all the details related to employee. You will find all the fields. Okay, person ID external, last modified, company, everything with respect to employee. Okay, all the details. You will find all the details with respect to all the portlets. This is where generally the Dell Boomi picks the data from Employee Central, mostly from the Compound Employee. You will find all the fields with respect to employee, all the portlets. Okay. Okay, you have each and every one separately also. For example, business unit, if you want to move, it's a foundation object, right? If you want to move the, if you want to call the business unit, a foundation is business unit is a foundation object, right? So it will call the with respect to business unit name, all that, any field for that matter. And OData, so this is SF API. We will also have to see the OData. OData API dictionary. So SF API dictionary and OData API dictionary, this is where the middleware calls the data. These are called as web services. So application programming interface, web services. Okay, you will find time related, mostly time related and anything related to custom objects. You see, cust underscore, whatever custom objects, MDF objects which you create, you will find it in the OData API. See, all this, if you remember, we have created nominee details, RNR, all this, ITD, laptop details. Okay, anything with respect to custom, it will call from the custom related fields. You know, OData custom related portlets. Next. Go to payroll system configurations, payroll configurations. This is with respect to EC payroll specifically. This is not applicable for the on-premises payroll. Define payroll system configuration. Okay, we have already defined. Let us see here. Okay, these are all standard. Configuration name, country, okay, URL. This URL, if you ask the basis guy, when they implement the SOAP manager in the SAP system, they will get one URL. You can ask them which is the URL, they will give you. And payroll system client ID. This is the client ID. If in SAP, you will have that in the client ID, right? You have the client ID. One second. I don't have SAP system now. I'll try to showcase it tomorrow. Okay, that client ID. Client ID, you guys must be aware when you are logging into the system, you have to give client ID SAP system. If you have to log into the SAP GUI, correct IDs has to be given. So the client number, whatever the client number in SAP, that you have to give it here. Okay, enable access to BSA tax factory. It's only for US customers. Otherwise, it should be no always. Enable enhanced validation production for production. Yes, it should be always yes. And there are standard portlets with respect to payroll for each of the country. If you go to tax, all these are India country specific, that is India specific info types in SAP. If you have the idea of SAP, see reimbursements, 590 info type. Provident Fund 587 info type. Section 85, 80 deductions, 80C deductions, all this. From where they will come? They have given it as a standard in the country specific portlets. If you see here, any country, they have given the default portlets for each of the countries. If you see default portlet, you need to just select the yes. Go to any country. If you want to default the portlets for India, select yes, then say save. That's it, which I have already done. For any country, country specific portlets with respect to SAP, they have given as standard. You can just select as, and automatically that particular country portlets will be visible here in the payroll system configuration. Right, with respect to India taxation, you have all this, okay, country specific. And go to US. Okay, if you go to tax, you will find all garnishments, tax withholding, IRS limits, okay, residential tax, work tax area. This is US specific info type. These are in US specific info types 161, 207 in SAP. Similarly, any country, if you go to any country, you will have a specific Australia specific, sorry, Argentina, Australia specific info types. If you see here, okay, 188, 227, tax file number, tax, income tax withholding, validation, all that. These are Australia specific info types. Okay, you need to ensure that these are activated. And so this client ID URL, you can ask the basis guy, or if it is, since it's EC payroll, you will get it by default. They will do all this configuration and you will get it by default handy system. It is just only you have to maintain the data in employee central. Automatically you go and set in the SAP system. We'll see how it will happen. Next, manage data. You have to go to manage data and you need to ensure that replication target system. Replication target system. Okay, so you need to give all those details. Let's see which we have already would have given. Let me show you that. Yeah, EC to SAP. External code you have to give. Okay. Relevant for ERP integration, yes. So external code you can give EC to SAP. Relevant for payroll integration, yes. So in the replication target system, you need to ensure that you have given these details. Okay. So EC is the source system. So which is the destination system? SAP. Okay. We need to ensure that we give all this access to. Okay. So other than this, you will not do any other settings in EC. Okay, what you do, you will do the settings in the provisioning. Number 2, you need to ensure that the length of the fields with respect to SAP, there are some standard fields which are standard, you cannot modify the length. The same field length you need to ensure that you change that in the employee central payroll, employee central system, and you have to create a separate user ID you have to create a separate role. The way we have admin role, EC admin role, like that, you have to create separate role called API role. In API role, API user role, and you need to give the permissions with respect to all the integrations which I have shown. All those permissions has to be checked in the manage permissions. Under the manage permissions, you have to give that access to. Okay, and there is something else called, see, data replication monitor. Data replication monitor, what does it do? It does, it will just give the logs, how many employees data has been sent to this the destination system, how many are successful, how many are in progress, how many failed. Okay, again you have various filters. Company wise you can filter, you can just have that details, how many have been successful, how many in progress, location wise, employee class wise, or you can filter based on the time as well. All until now, only last week, last 1 hour, and you can select the period, all this. This is only to just check the replication. If you want to check one employee data, click on this status per employee, put the employee number, it will give you the status, whether the data has been sent or not sent, successfully sent, failed, whatever it is. Right? So we will discuss the remaining point tomorrow with respect to EC payroll. Let me take the doubts. Ravi, any doubts?
No, Raju.
Ravi.
Has no doubts.
Okay.
Raju, no doubts. It's a good.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Rupa?
No, Raju, I think I'm good.
Okay, you guys ensure that you send a test mail to me. Text, Raju SAP SF. I will share all the documents with you guys. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Vinay?
No, Raju, I don't have any right now.
Okay.
Can you repeat your email ID once again?
Raju, R-A-J-U, SAP SF @gmail.com. Raju, SAP, R-A-J-U, SAP SF, SAP SF @gmail.com.
Okay. Thank you.
I can just write it here as well. Raju, SAP SF. Okay. So thank you guys. See you tomorrow. But do not miss the classes, please. Another, we will have another 5 days. Okay, let us, with this employees under integrations will be over. Then we will see about the other modules, how many people, other people are joining. Then we will discuss on that. Okay. Thank you.